Okay, let's dive into this explainer. We're dropping you right into the absolute middle of a freezing battlefield in eastern France. It's January 1945. You've got snow covering the ground, thick smoke drifting across the trees, and the distant, terrifying rumble of tank engines just growing louder by the second. An entire enemy force is advancing through an open field, completely determined to break the American lines. And what happens next? It literally sounds like a Hollywood script, but it's the raw reality of a single 19-year-old lieutenant named Audie Murphy, facing absolute, overwhelming chaos.
Murphy's company was completely exhausted and massively outnumbered, with nearly 200 German soldiers and 6 tanks rolling straight toward their position near the village of Holtz. Staying put meant certain death. So Murphy orders his men to fall back to the nearby woods to set up a stronger defensive line. But here's the catch: someone had to stay behind to direct the artillery fire and cover their retreat. Murphy looks around and chooses himself. He sends his guys back, climbs right up onto an abandoned, burning American tank destroyer, and hops on its .50 caliber machine gun.
For 1 solid hour, an entire hour, bleeding from a nasty leg wound, Murphy stood alone on that burning hunk of metal. He's continuously firing controlled bursts from the machine gun, all while calmly relaying new artillery coordinates over his field telephone. It's this terrifyingly stark contrast to the sheer chaos and the literal flames spreading right beneath his feet. The advancing army was getting hit so hard, they actually had no clue they were fighting just one guy. By the time he climbed down, exhausted and practically choking on smoke, he had single-handedly halted the entire attack. No way, right? But he did. He saved his unit and stopped a catastrophic breakthrough.
Facing the impossible, it's like an ancestral echo.
Seriously, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? When the odds are that terrifying, when every instinct is screaming at you to run for your life, what actually drives a person to stay? This unbreakable will is ancient, and this brilliantly illustrates that. Back in the late 6th century BC, a Roman Republic officer named Publius Horatius Cocles faced the massive invading Etruscan army of King Lars Porsena. To save Rome, Horatius and his companions held a narrow choke point, the Pons Sublicius Bridge. By holding off the entire attacking army just long enough for the Romans to smash the bridge behind him, he completely blocked the enemy's advance. The weapons change, sure, but that raw instinct to hold the line, that remains exactly the same.
Let's talk about the unseen phantoms, the psychological warfare side of extreme combat. While some last stands are loud and explosive, others are terrifyingly quiet. Let's shift our focus to the chilling psychological warfare of extreme odds. This is where solitary individuals just hide in plain sight to completely dismantle overwhelming forces. Take Thomas Plunkett of the British Army's 95th Rifles. During the British invasions of the River Plate back in 1807, Plunkett was in Buenos Aires facing down a fierce Spanish force. Sniping from a rooftop, he managed to take out approximately 20 Spanish soldiers. He only retreated when the Spanish artillery desperately started blasting his position with devastating grape shot. But if we're talking about solitary phantoms completely altering the battlefield, we have to talk about this massive number, 500. That is the number of confirmed hits attributed to just one man, Simo Häyhä. He was a humble Finnish farmer who became history's absolutely deadliest sniper during the Winter War of 1939 to 1940. Operating in completely freezing sub-zero snow conditions, he earned this chilling nickname, the White Death. He used a basic Mosin-Nagant rifle, and get this, he often relied entirely on iron sights rather than a scope. Why? So the glare of the sun wouldn't give away his position in the snow. He was a true phantom, terrorizing an entire invading army just by lying completely still in the freezing cold. Let's move to the one-man armies and see how this builds with aggressive courage.
Because what happens when that solitary courage actually goes on the offensive? In April 1945, an enraged French-Canadian sniper named Leo Major decided he was going to liberate an entire city all by himself. His motivation? Avenge his fallen friend, Wally Arsenault. Oh, and by the way, Major had already been partially blinded by a grenade on D-Day. He infiltrates the Dutch city of Zwolle, contacts the Dutch underground, and creates so much violent chaos throughout the night that he literally convinces a German officer that the city is surrounded by thousands of Canadian troops. By the very next morning, the entire German garrison had vanished. One guy. He took a city.
That same fiery spirit echoed in the steaming jungles of Burma in May 1945. Imagine being out there and hearing this battle cry ringing out for hours in the pitch dark. Come and fight a Gurkha.
That was 27-year-old Rifleman Lachaman Gurung.
While defending his forward post, Gurung hurled back 2 incoming enemy grenades, but a third one exploded right in his hand. It blew off his fingers, completely shattered his right arm, and severely wounded his face, body, and leg. With his 2 comrades badly wounded and left totally alone, Gurung just shoved his rifle into his shoulder, loading and firing it using only his left hand for 4 agonizing hours. He faced down an assault from at least 200 Japanese soldiers at point-blank range, smashing every single attack and saving his company's entire position. Just incredible.
The ultimate rear guard, a healer's sacrifice. Let's slow things down for just a second here.
Because sometimes, this immense courage is forced upon people who never sought out a fight in the first place. Look at the stark, brutal reality of the Battle of Saipan in July 1944. Now, what's really interesting about this contrast is what you're seeing here. On one side, you have between 3,000 and 5,000 attacking Japanese soldiers. On the other, Captain Ben L. Solomon, a United States Army dentist. He had volunteered to replace a wounded frontline surgeon. He's a healer, tasked with saving lives, and he is suddenly caught directly in the path of a massive, overwhelming assault.
As the perimeter was overrun, the situation in Solomon's small aid station got totally desperate. There were about 30 wounded men inside. When Solomon saw an enemy soldier actually bayoneting one of his wounded patients, he grabbed a rifle and killed him. As more enemies poured in, this frantic, desperate hand-to-hand fight broke out right inside the hospital tent. Solomon kicked a knife out of one man's hand, shot another, bayoneted a third, and literally headbutted a fourth. Realizing they couldn't hold the tent, he orders his wounded patients to evacuate. And to buy them time, he grabs a rifle, rushes outside, and takes control of a machine gun after its crew had been killed. 98. Solomon stood a rearguard action where he had absolutely no hope of personal survival. But his sacrifice worked. His patients escaped. When American forces later reclaimed the area and found his body, they found 98 dead enemy soldiers piled in front of his machine gun position. He gave up his life to save his patients.
To the last man, the final sacrifice.
That absolute willingness to die so others might live brings us to our most emotionally devastating example. I really want you to ask yourself, what would you do? On September 12, 1897, an estimated 10,000 to 24,000 Afghan tribesmen surrounded a tiny communications outpost called Saragari, totally cutting it off from the world. Inside, just 21 soldiers of the British Indian Army, all of them Sikhs, led by Havildar Ishar Singh. They were given the option to surrender. They completely refused.
The tension just escalated minute by minute. The attack starts at 9 a.m. For hours, these 21 men repulsed wave after wave. By noon, attempts to rush the gate were defeated, but by 2 p.m., the overwhelming numbers finally took their toll and the wall was breached. Havildar Ishar Singh ordered his remaining men to fall back to the inner layer of the fort, while he alone covered their retreat, following in fierce hand-to-hand combat. They fell one by one, bleeding that massive enemy force for every single inch of ground.
What makes this battle so extraordinarily well documented and honestly so uniquely chilling is the heliograph. While all this desperate fighting was raging, a signalman named Sepoy Gurmukh Singh was calmly flashing messages via mirror to Fort Lockhart. He was literally narrating the deaths of his comrades and his own impending doom in real time as it was happening.
Eventually, Gurmukh Singh was the very last man left alive. He signaled his commander to ask for permission to put away his signaling equipment and pick up his rifle. Permission was granted. He packed up his heliograph, walked over to the door of his signaling shed, and held it against the massive mob. He's stated to have killed 40 men right at that door. And when they couldn't defeat him in combat, they set the post on fire. As the flames consumed him, he roared the Sikh battle cry in absolute triumph. Bole Sonahal Sat Sri Akal. One will be blessed eternally, who says that God is the ultimate truth. All 21 men died that day, but they delayed the invasion and inflicted roughly 450 casualties, ultimately saving the neighboring forts. The price of courage and enduring legacy. As we look back at these unbelievable stories, Audie Murphy in the freezing snow, Lachiman Gurung in the jungle, Ben Solomon at his medical tent, and the 21 Sikhs at Sargar Hari, a profoundly human theme emerges. We aren't just recounting these for the drama. Look at the battlefield geometry here. So the crucial point is, these individuals didn't just fight, they fundamentally altered the course of history. One man, or a tiny group of men, through pure aggressive courage and a total refusal to yield, physically stopped massive military formations. They bought time, they saved their comrades. Which leaves us with a heavy, lingering question. We can study the tactics, the terrain, and the weapons all day long. But when the odds are truly impossible, and running away is the absolute only guarantee of survival, what is it inside the human spirit that makes a person put down their signaling mirror, pick up a rifle, and decide to stay? It's a terrifying, awe-inspiring reality of ultimate sacrifice that history will never, ever forget.